Welcome to San Cristóbal, Galápagos. In this quick video, I'll show you what to expect on the island in terms of prices and everything. I'll show you the best snorkeling spots. And I'll tell you the snippets of history I've learned along the way. The main town, Puerto Baquerizo, is ruled by the sea lions. They are home, we are the visitors. And sometimes the sea lions can remind you of that. We arrived in San Cristóbal by taking the ferry from Santa Cruz Island. I think that cost $30 and I was booked 2 days ahead from the shop locally. On arrival on the island, we checked into our little hotel, La Casa de Jamie. That cost us $30 a night. And that was well located in the city center. The hotels in Galápagos are actually affordable. It's more the excursions and the attractions that are expensive. This is the beautiful view over the sunset from our hotel, from the rooftop. Puerto Baquerizo is a nice little town. It is very clean. It's not unusual to see the military cleaning the streets, actually. The town is named after Alfredo Baquerizo Moreno. He was an early 20th century Ecuadorian president. San Cristóbal Island was the first one that was visited by Charles Darwin in 1835. Although at the time it was not called San Cristóbal quite yet, it used to be known as Chatham Island. A lot of the Galápagos Islands have been rebranded since. Those are the public toilets on the port. That's quite nice. The seafront next to the ferry terminal is quite touristy. You can eat for much cheaper in the back streets, especially close to the Mercado Municipal. Hello! You'll see sea lions absolutely everywhere. And there is a statue of the Beagle boat from Charles Darwin. In 1831, Charles was invited as a naturalist. He boarded a Royal Navy ship. This one did not want to let me pass. For some reason, some of the seals on San Cristóbal were a bit, not aggressive, but a little bit scarier than they were on the other Galápagos Islands we visited. I don't know why. Locals would say that the seals own the island. There's a bit of a legend that the first settlers were only accepted by the seals because they agreed to share their fishing products. And it is said that the sea lions can curse you if you treat them badly, or you chase them off the benches because you want to use them, or if you complain about the smell. Hello, you. They can bring you bad luck at sea, or make you miss the ferry, or lose your gear. Anyway, time for breakfast. So this is the Mercado Municipal, the central marketplace. And there's a food court right above the market, where you can get a full breakfast for $6. So that's a bolón. It is a bowl made out of plantain banana. On the seafront, close to the ferry terminal, you'll find a 3D map of the Galápagos Islands, although I'm not sure the proportions are quite right. Because there's a rock, it's called the León Dormido, or the Kicker's Rock. That is one of the main diving spots outside of San Cristóbal. This is the rock there. But it is definitely not that big compared to the island. I did not get a chance to go to Kicker's Rock, but we saw it from the distance from the ferry. It is also said to have a secret spirit protecting the island, along with the red-neck frigate birds that would warn you from the rough seas and the storms. And that's a blue-footed booby on the rock just there. They have become a bit of a symbol of the Galápagos Islands. Now let's go and take a look at the Beagle boat at daytime. Before to arrive in the Galápagos, they had gone to Cape Verde, they'd gone to Brazil, they'd gone to Uruguay. And Charles Darwin was studying the animals and the fossils and everything. In Latin America, he even found giant extinct armadillos. But at the time, they did not even conceive the concept of extinction. They thought God had created every animal perfectly. Why would they disappear? This was a nice little free museum, by the way. There are two, that one plus the Interpretation Center, a bit further down. And this beautiful beach here, that is Playa Man. It is the closest to the town center, really. So on that first day in the morning, we walked all the way east to explore all the beaches you can explore on foot. A bit of a hike, but some beautiful views and beautiful beaches coming up. So to get back to Darwin, it is after observing all those animals in Latin America and then coming here, observing the endemic animals here. Like those iguanas. Very similar physically to the ones in Latin America. But the ones here, they swim and they spit out the salty water. That is how Charles Darwin started to think of the concept of natural selection and the theory of evolution. Although he didn't actually publish his theories for many more years after that. This is the last beach you can access from here, I think. There was quite of a hike to get all the way down to that one. A good 35 minutes walk. I think we came down all the way because we were told it was a good one to spot sea turtles. And we did spot a few. But it is a bit of a hike, so it's not for everyone. And of course, make sure you carry enough water with you, because there's nowhere to buy any anywhere. It's very wild. Now, it is a beautiful spot, but it is full of tabanos. The tabanos are horse flies. They are very annoying big flies that usually go on the sea lions, and they would bite your legs. But they only target you when your legs are wet, when you're fresh out of the water. If your legs are dry, they don't really care. This is me trying to shield my legs from the tabanos with some sand. Right, after that, we came back almost all the way to go to the best snorkeling spot, a place called Tireretas. There's no beach there, it's just a little platform where you can drop your stuff. And in there you can see manta rays, sea lions, turtles. It is a great snorkeling spot. That one was very playful with the camera. And that one was not so playful, a bit scary. It is also a diving spot. This is the footage from my friend that went diving there. Diving in the Galápagos, it's quite expensive compared to many other countries. And the visibility underwater is not always the best, apparently. Although I'm no expert, I don't dive, this is the footage from my friend. This is back at Playa Man, the closest to the city center. So you have to share the space and the water with the seals. Some of them being tiny babies. Time for a locally brewed beer. A Galápagos stout. You often get some free popcorn with the beers. And time for another sunset. And then time to find a place for dinner. In the back streets, there are a lot of restaurants with very good deal in terms of menus and stuff. That's a fish soup. And a ceviche, with popcorn, of course. Oh yeah, you might want to keep your towel folded when you go into the water, because it very often gets stolen by a seal. And then you're trapped, because remember, you're not meant to chase them away. They can curse you. If you like shopping, they have some interesting local products. Wine made with passion fruit. Coffee. And more coffee. Now, the next morning, I wanted to go and see the volcano and the best beach in the area on the Turtle Center. The cheapest way is actually to share a taxi. My friend did not want to come, so I shared with a couple we met at the hotel. I think that cost $70 for about 4 hours. The taxi stays with you all morning. First stop, El Junco. It is a volcanic crater filled with rainwater. You have to climb all the way to the top first. And here is the lake, although we couldn't see much of the lake because of the mist. It is the only sizable freshwater body in the archipelago. The mist went for a little while so we could see a bit of the lake. I did consider coming all the way up here, renting a bicycle, but that would have been very sporty because it's very hilly. And the bicycles rental were not cheap anyway. The cheapest I found was $25 for a day. Wild berries. Now the second stop is the Tortoise Center. You'll see a lot of giant tortoise. And at every stop, the taxi waits for you, of course, on the car park. It's cheaper to hire a normal taxi. They all do this type of tours, rather than organizing it with a travel agency ahead. By the way, if you happen to be a smoker, the full island is a national park. So remember, you are only allowed to smoke in town, like on the port and stuff. Now, time for the last spot on the tour. Another little friend in the middle of the way. This is Puerto Chino Beach. That would literally translate into Chinese harbor. Why? We don't know. Nothing to do with Chinese ship going in the area. It is believed to be because there used to be a little house here where the roof looked like a Chinese hat. It is the best beach I've seen on the island. Unfortunately, you cannot really stay as much as you'd like because remember, the taxi driver is waiting for you in the taxi. They usually give you about an hour down here, but I suppose you can negotiate with them anyway. Because to be honest, it's not a bad deal, $70 for 4 people. Now, back in town to go to La Loberia. It's a bit of a walk to get there. You could take a taxi if you preferred. We had been told it was one of the best beaches in the area. To be honest, none of us was massively impressed. I mean, it was nice, but we much preferred the beaches on the east end that we saw the other day. Hi, Bernard! In French, those animals are called Bernard the hermit. Right, back into town for our last dinner in Galápagos. We went to have a local fish called the bruro. We were told it was fished 200 meters down underwater. Ceviche first, and then the fish. You can have it fried, or grilled, or maybe even in ceviche. Now I'm afraid that's it for San Cristóbal Island. The next morning we walked down to the airport. It's nice to be able to walk to the airport. Thanks for watching. If you want to see a bit more from me, check out my live stream session on YouTube. Most of what I do on YouTube is actually live streaming. And if you are planning a trip, feel free to post any of your questions in the comments section below. Bye!